How's it going, everybody out there in YouTube land? Welcome to Something to Talk About, where I'm going to cover A Song of Ice and Fire characters. So, yeah, let's go! What's up? How you doing? My name is Taco, and yeah, it's Saturday, and I'm gonna cover a character from A Song of Ice and Fire. Do it every week. I do a lot of stuff. Do a lot of stuff. Don't worry about it. If you don't know what's going on here, read this. It Yes, there is a typo of yet to fix. Been using them for a long time. Don't think I'm gonna. So yeah, you clicked on it. You know what this is. This is Caggo Corpsekiller, a captain of the Windblown and a Dothraki sellsword. It's a fun little character, really kind of small character, but I got some stuff for him. But it's kind of awful. Not a great guy. So yeah, every remember this dude, Caggo. Caggo is a sellsword of Dothraki origin and a captain of the Windblown. He is the right-hand man of the Tattered Prince. Caggo is a huge man with a seamed, scarred face, although Caggo is quick to anger. He's kind of a jerk. He is well regarded by the Tattered Prince and the leader of the Windblown. Caggo rides a monstrous warhorse and wields a rare curved arakh of Valyrian steel. Yeah, you know those like Dothraki weapons, the like arakhs, right? What are they called? Arakhs. He's got a Valyrian steel one. That's kind of the coolest thing about this character. I was gonna cover Caggo a super long time ago when I covered Kraz. Before Kraz ended up getting covered this year, I was gonna cover him last year. Last year I was doing 2 a week and I was trying to theme him. So I originally was gonna cover Kraz and Caggo at the same time because they were my arakh users. And I didn't end up using they got to the next year, so I had to split them, and I didn't want them like they were kind of too close to do like 2 weeks apart. So I pushed Caggo, shoved him in here. We're finally getting Caggo. We covered Kraz a while ago, but yeah, he's got a rack. He's got a Valyrian steel rack. That's cool. Men of the Windblown use what names they could, what names they would. Sorry, they just use whatever names they want. That's what I'm trying to say, and change them at a whim. Even the captain's name is unknown. Why am I bringing that up? Well, because his name's just going to change throughout this video. So that's why I want to bring up like the Windblown kind of a thing for just like, what's your name? Fred. You don't look like a Fred. You look like a squirrel. We call him Squirrel. All right. A lot of they just show up. They're like, what's your name? They call me Aegon Targaryen. You can't pick that name. Dang it. All right, fine. It's Taco. The Windblown. The Windblown are a mercenary group, a company of 2,000 mounted horse and foot soldiers. They are found in Essos near the Free Cities. They are led by a captain known as the Tattered Prince, who founded the company 30 years ago and is their first and only captain. The Tattered Prince, we'll talk about him a lot. The Windblown were established around 270 AC at age 23. Tattered Prince had been selected as by the Magisters of Pentos to become the new Prince of Pentos in 262, so 8 years before he founds the company. Only hours after the previous one had been beheaded. So Tattered Prince refused the offer. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to get killed. And he fled to the disputed lands. He never returned to Pentos again, but he has longed for the city. He's been out for a very long time, and he misses Pentos. It's probably going to be a thing. You know, the Tattered Prince, I don't know, he's probably going to destroy Pentos at one point in the future. I'm just guessing. All right, a little trigger warning here. This is a little rough slide. I'm not trying to word it too awful, but yeah. So, right-hand man, Sir Lucifer Long, great name, a Westerosi knight that may be part of House Long, who can trace their line back to the northern house that once held the Wolves' Den. What? That's a thing. There's this random guy here named Lucifer Long who might be an old northerner whose house once held the Wolves' Den. I've never heard of this guy before. I've read the books multiple times, and I'm just like researching for Caggo. I go through this chapter, and they bring up Lucifer Long, and I'm like, how Long? I don't know who Lucifer Long is. So I look him up, and it's like, House Long? Possibly a northern house from the Wolves' Den. I'm like, what? Gonna have to make a short. If I do make a short, it came out before this video, so you guys might have seen my short, which I haven't made yet, but I might. All right. Okay, so Lucifer hates Caggo. He resents that Caggo once took a slave girl from him. And he says he could have given her back once he had no cause to kill her. Lucifer later said. To that, the Dothraki responded, "She was ugly. That's cause enough." That's a little brutal. Yeah, so this dude just like takes Lucifer along's like slave bed warmer and then bangs her and murders her. And well, I guess it's implied that he beds her. And then when Lucifer's like, "Bro, like you could have taken her, just give her back," and he's like, "She was ugly." And it's messed up. All right, that's all I'll say. That was what the trigger warning is for. I know as far as the song West and Fire, that's pretty tame, but a little brutal. Yeah. That all right. Anyways, he was considered the Tattered Prince's right hand, with Denzo Dahan, the warrior bard, being his left hand. So he's the right hand, warrior bard's the left hand. All right, let's get into actually some book stuff. So, Siege of Astapor. After the fall of Astapor, Daenerys Targaryen frees the city's slaves and names a council to rule the city. But Cleon the Butcher slays the council after Daenerys departs, however, and proclaims himself king. He tries to marry her too. Yunkai, one of the remaining slave cities, declares a war on Astapor, and the Yunkai hire several sellsword companies, including the Long Lances, the Company of the Cat, and the Windblown. That's what we're talking about now. The armies of Yunkai descend on Astapor when Cleon commands the Astapori to march out against the Yunkai. The Butcher is slain by his own soldiers. Oh man, that's rough. Another man declares himself Cleon the Second, takes his name and everything, but his throat is cut 8 days later. Inside the desperate city, the Green Grace has a vision that dead Cleon will deliver Astapor from the Yunkai. The despairing Astapori heed this vision and attempt to break the siege, making the decision to have Cleon's corpse desterred and strapped to the back of a starving horse. What? To lead Asapor's new and inferior Unsullied on the sortie outside of the city's gate. Okay, what did I just say? What's that have to do with Caggo? Don't worry, I'm going to get back to Caggo. But that's just what's going on in Astapor. So Cleon the Great, the Butcher, dies, right? When he's like, "Go there!" They're like, "No, we'll just kill you instead." So they kill him. And then this other dude's like, "I'm Cleon the Second. Go out there." And they're like, "No." And then they slit his throat. And then finally the Green Grace is like, I have a vision. The vision is that the battle is led by Cleon the Great. And they're like, "We killed him. We killed him a while ago." And she's like, "Well, just tape him to a horse. Well, I get the visions. I don't know. I just tell you what I see." And they're like, "All right." So they tie him to a horse and he leads the fight. And he's leading these really inferior Unsullied who are just like people that are like, "Hey, you, can we make you Unsullied?" "No, I don't want that." "Well, we're cutting your balls off and calling you Unsullied." "That sounds awful." "All right." And yeah, really inferior. They don't do well. All right, let's get back to what Caggo has to do with this, the Corpsekiller. The fight beneath the walls of Astapor begins at dawn when the new Unsullied, who stink, march out of the gates in a sortie against the forces of the Yunkai and its allies and sellswords. So the Windblown, all those other people, right? Some of the Windblown are asleep when the battle commences, so they must quickly don their armor. Where was I? 300 yards away, Astapor's Unsullied pour through the gates and form up in ranks beneath the crumbling red brick walls. Caggo participates in the siege of Astapor, and he cuts the Butcher King down. Good job. Fighting through the king's protectors on his monstrous warhorse and opening Cleon the Great from shoulder to hip With one blow of his curved Valyrian steel arakh, Cleon's fall breaks the Astapor unsullied, and they throw down their spears because their corpse died and shields in a run, only to find that the gates of Astapor were shut behind them. Wow. The Windblown ride down and slaughter the frightened eunuchs. Poor guys, slashing right and left through the unsullied. Caggo becomes known as the Corpsekiller, however, when it is revealed that Cleon is just a corpse in armor and tied to a horse. Although he does not care for the name, they don't say to his face. Like, hey, we're going to call you Caggo Corpsekiller. Why? That king you killed? Yeah, I killed the king. He was dead already. I don't want you guys to call me that. All right, we'll say behind your back. Cool, thanks. Caggo! Yeah, so it's like his big triumphant moment where he like rides down the king and kills him and cuts him. It's just the dude was already dead. So that's why I got the really cool name Caggo Corpsekiller. And that's why it's important to be like, names don't really mean anything to these guys. Caggo is present when the Tattered Prince calls the Westerosi, all the Westerosi in the company, to his tent, well, most of them, to propose a scheme where they join Dany's side. Frog and his companions are among the Turncloaks. They're like fake Turncloaks, right? He's like, hey, I want to Turncloak. No, let's not do it yet. So you Turncloak, and then later I'll be able to Turncloak. And that way no one knows that I'm going to Turncloak. And they're like, all right, cool. Well, we're really going to Turncloak. And then he's like, dang it. I didn't see that coming. So Frog, who is Quentyn Martell, so now we're going to switch to like talking about him mostly, is like him and Archibald Ironwood and Garrus Drinkwater are among the Westerosi that flip over. And yeah, now we're going to get to his scheme, Frog's plan. After deserting the Windblown and revealing himself as a prince to Queen Dany, Quentyn hopes to marry her, but feels disrespected when she marries the Lorak instead. Yeah, the Lorak. He speaks for the fighting pits. Lorak. Yeah, you guys know who the Lorak is. He and flies on her dragon. See ya. She flies off on her dragon, hoping to make a deal. So now they're all like, they don't know what to do because Dany like marries his daughter Zolorak, and then does some fighting pit stuff, and then she flies away. And then he's like, now we're just some like losers hanging out here, like our queen's gone. So then he gets a plan. He's like, there's one Dany, there's 3 dragons. I got an idea. And they're all like, bad idea. He's like, don't care, doing it. It's a bad idea. Horrible idea. Quentyn Martell and his companions, all right, where was I? Hoping to make a deal with the Tattered Prince, Quentyn Martell and his companions, Sir Archibald Ironwood and Garrus Drinkwater, eventually find a door marked with a purple lotus and enter a large but dilapidated building. Pretty Maris, Danzo Dahan, and Caggo Corpsekiller and the Tattered Prince await them. Quentyn is wary as the prince is wearing mail, right? Ooh. And has brought one more man than they had agreed on. Wow, I brought another. And Quentyn expresses this displeasure of the extra bodyguard, but the Tattered Prince points out that Maris is not a man. So he's like, they like get together this secret meeting, right? So Quentyn Martell and his 2 guys arrange this meeting, and so then the Tattered Prince agrees, and he's like, it's going to be 3 of us. I don't want you to have more than 2 people, so it's 3 on 3. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. Tattered Prince is like, no troubles, bubbles. And then the Tattered Prince shows up in armor too, and then with 1 extra person, and it's like, you brought Pretty Maris. It's like, well, she's not a monster, she doesn't count. Pretty Maris can kill all of us. She counts. Pretty Maris is scary. I'll do a video on Pretty Maris eventually, don't worry. Quentyn expresses the displeasure. Where was I? She's not a man. The prince remains resentful of the Dornishman's betrayal. He's like, you actually betrayed me, you jerk. It's supposed to be a ruse. And it resulted in the imprisonment of several of his best men. Yeah, you got everyone locked up. Like the dude from the north. I loved him. To persuade the prince to join their side, Quentyn promises to double the amount being paid to the Windblown by the Ukai once they arrive in Dorne. We're going to pay you even more. But the Tattered Prince is unmoved. Quentyn then reveals his plan to steal one of the remaining 2 dragons in Meereen, and that the prince names Pentos as his price. Give me Pentos. He's like, yeah, no problem. A whole city I don't own or anything. Yeah, I'll give you that. It's like, I've been there before, right? I visited Duluth, Minnesota once. You want it? I'll just give it to you. Maybe I'll get a dragon. Who knows? What? All right. And then they take the deal. So let's get it to stealing a dragon disguised with a cobra mask of the Brazen Beast. So the Brazen Beasts are like the guards, the cops, right? And they all cover their faces because they're afraid that they're all going to get killed. But then it makes it really like, anyone could just pretend to be Brazen Beast, and that's what happens. So Caggo Corpsekiller and some other Windblown join Quentyn Martell's scheme, and here they are. So he's dressed as a cobra. So disguised with a cobra mask of the Brazen Beast, they make it to the pit where Rhaegal and Viserion are being kept. There, however, they use the code word dog on the Brazen Beast, who are part of the scheme to overthrow the king that very night. There's a whole other scheme going on. So in the confusion, a fight ensues, and the 4 guards are slain, though Quentyn is almost slain by a spear. Caggo beheads a guard and calls for his sellswords to bring the chains to the dragons. Yeah, so Caggo's all in. He kills, cuts somebody's head off. Quentyn gets messed up a little bit. The plan is ruined, however, when throughout this encounter, Quentyn tries to dominate one of the dragons like he had seen Dany do with Drogon in the pit, right? Like he starts whipping, and he's like, yield! But when he strikes Viserion with the whip, Rhaegal spews fire on him, setting him aflame, completely killing Quentyn, leaving him dead beyond a shadow of a doubt. Quentyn Martell is absolutely, positively dead. The rest of the sellswords scatter safely. Quentyn Martell's dead, guys. I just had to throw that in there. Absolutely murdering him. There are people who think he's alive. That's crazy. That's it. That's all we know of Caggo. And then Caggo gets away, right? So he helps them get in there, and then the dragon lights up Quentyn Martell and a few other people, and then he's like, let's go. Let's get out of here. I don't think this is going to work. So that's it. So I do got a theory. So we'll discuss the theory. So, Caggo the White Killer, right? All right. I was surprised to find that there was some theories for Caggo. Well, I could only find one, so there weren't theories, and it's more of a prediction. Seasoned Harvester on Reddit suggests that the name, though earned by killing the already dead clan, might be a hint that Caggo will be important later and joins Dany, eventually being on her side when they fight the dead. And that amazing sword he has will be used to slay whites and maybe even others, right? And I kind of like it. It seems weird for such a random character. So this is me saying. So that's what this guy's theory, or their theory, I don't know their gender, said, like, oh, maybe Caggo Corpsekiller will eventually kill whites. And it's like, well, yeah. And then expanding on that, like, he's got a Valyrian steel sword, which, at least is important in the show. So maybe that's a thing in the books where Valyrian steel is going to help kill against, the whites. So where was I? I kind of like it. It seems weird for such a random character to have a Valyrian steel sword, and that maybe he'll use it on a white, or someone else will take it. Maybe Strong Belwas or Dario. It might be perfect for them too. Or maybe the Corpsekiller will live up to his nickname. Yeah. Is Caggo Corpsekiller going to be important later on and actually kill like whites and others with his sword? Maybe. I don't know. I like it. I think it's kind of cool. I also don't love Caggo. Like, he kind of seems like a psycho a little bit, right? We don't meet, as we see, we don't got a lot of them. I talk most like about what's going on with all those storylines, and Caggo's just kind of there. But maybe he's a decent enough folk. No, he's not. He killed a chick for being ugly. Weird. All right. So yeah, that was Caggo Corpsekiller. What'd you guys think? And let me know what you think of that theory. Is he going to be important? Is he going to become Caggo Other Killer or Caggo White Killer later on? Maybe. Click like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff. If this is your first time, hey man, welcome. If you watch the whole video, it's great, man. Not a lot of people do. I see them analytics. And that's all I got. Peace.